All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open The 22 Immutable Laws of Branding by Al and Laura Reese. Now look, we're not going to cover all 22 laws, but we're going to zoom in on 3 really powerful ideas. Ideas that just totally flip what you think you know about marketing right on its head. And we're going to start with a pretty wild idea. Why being successful can actually be the worst thing for a brand.
Okay, let's dive right in with a paradox that trips up even the most successful companies. We see this pattern play out all the time. A brand gets super successful, and then trying to get even bigger, it ends up doing the one thing that will, believe it or not, lead to its own downfall.
So why do these great brands stumble? Well, the usual playbook, right? The thing everyone tells you to do is expand. Add more products, more styles, try to appeal to absolutely everyone. And hey, it makes sense on the surface, doesn't it? I mean, if you want to grow, you've got to get bigger, broader. But this book, it argues that's precisely the trap. That's where it all goes wrong.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The proof is right there in the real world. I mean, take Chevy. Quick, what do you think of when you hear Chevrolet? Is it a car? A truck? Big, small, cheap, expensive? See, by trying to be everything to everybody, the name just gets fuzzy. It loses its punch. American Express? Their market share absolutely tanked after they just flooded the world with all these different cards for students, for seniors, you name it. It just watered down what made them special. And Levi's, oh man, they went from owning almost a third of the market down to under 20%. Why? Because they came out with like 27 different cuts trying to please everyone.
And this really gets to the core of the problem. You see, most companies are obsessed with selling, just moving stuff off the shelves today. But branding? That's the long game. It's not about today's sale. It's about planting a powerful, single idea in someone's head for tomorrow and the day after that. And a lot of the time, those two things, selling and branding, are pulling in completely opposite directions.
This right here, this quote nails the book's most controversial idea. It's called the law of expansion. The whole idea is that a brand is kind of like a laser. The more you focus it down to a single point, the more powerful it gets. It's a total 180 from what we're always told, right? That bigger is always better.
Okay, so if getting bigger and broader actually makes you weaker, and what makes you stronger? Well, that brings us to the book's first rule, the law of contraction. The secret to building a powerhouse brand isn't to expand, it's to contract. You have to narrow your focus. I know, it sounds totally backward, but trust me, this is where the real magic is.
Here's a super simple way to think about it. You know your local corner deli? They sell a bit of everything, right? Soups, sandwiches, newspapers, lottery tickets. They're a total generalist. But then, what did Subway do? They contracted. They focused on one thing and one thing only, the submarine sandwich. And by becoming a specialist, they got incredibly good at it and built a brand that just completely owns that entire category in our minds.
And that one move kicks off this awesome chain reaction. It's basically the playbook for every category killer brand out there. Okay, so step 1, you narrow your focus. Because you're a specialist, now you can stock deep. You can offer a massive selection of that one thing. All that volume means you can buy cheaper, which means you can sell cheaper. And boom, before you know it, you dominate the entire category. And every single step, hinges on that first brave move to contract.
But look, shrinking your business isn't the actual goal here. It's just the strategy to get you to the real prize. And that brings us to the next rule, the law of the word. Because the whole point of that narrow focus is to own a tiny piece of real estate, not in the real world, but inside your customer's mind.
The ultimate goal, the holy grail of branding, is to own one single word. Just think about it. When I say safety, you think Volvo. They don't just sell safe cars, they literally own the word safety in your brain. FedEx, they own overnight. Kleenex is so powerful, it actually became the word for tissue itself. When a brand is truly focused, it can burn one simple word into our collective mind.
And that is the real power play right there. This isn't about some catchy slogan on a billboard. This is about building a fortress in people's minds that's almost impossible to attack. I mean, sure, Mercedes builds a super safe car, but can they ever own the word safety? No way.
That mental real estate, it's already taken. It's owned by Volvo.
All right, on to the final rule we're going to cover today. And this one blows up maybe the biggest myth in all of marketing. It's called the law of publicity. And it gets right to the heart of a huge question. How are brands actually born? So what do most people think? They think brands are built with these massive, expensive ad campaigns. You know, just throw a ton of cash at Super Bowl ads and billboards and poof, you've got a brand. Yeah, that's not really how it works. Not anymore. Get this. In its first 10 years, the years of its most explosive growth, Starbucks spent less than $10 million on advertising. Total. That is absolute peanuts for a company that grew into a global giant. So, if it's not advertising, what is it? It's publicity. Brands are born when people start talking about them. So here's the rule of thumb from the book. Brands are born with publicity, but they're maintained with advertising. Think about it. The media loves to talk about what's new, what's different, what's first. A super focused brand that creates a whole new category, well, that's a story. And that credibility you get from a news article or a TV segment, it is so much more powerful than anything you could ever say about yourself in an ad.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. Because these ideas, these aren't just for huge, faceless corporations. This stuff applies to every single one of us, whether you're trying to build a career, a project, or just a reputation.
So, after all this talk about contracting, owning a word, and getting publicity, what's the bottom line? What does it all really mean? What even is a brand, according to them? It's not your logo. It's not your name. It's not even your product. It's something much, much deeper.
And there it is, a singular idea, one single concept that you own inside somebody's head. That's it. It is that simple and that incredibly hard. Everything else we've talked about, contracting, owning a word, publicity, they're all just tools to help you get to that one single thing.
And then the book makes one last, really powerful point. This whole idea isn't just for soda cans and sneakers. The book says every proper noun is a brand, which means you are a brand. Yep. Whether you're an artist, a coder, a manager, an entrepreneur, you are actively building a brand about yourself in the minds of everyone you interact with.
So, I'm going to leave you with the same question the book leaves its readers with. If you are a brand, and the goal is to own a single word in the mind of your audience, what's the one word you want to own? Think about that one. Thanks for tuning into The Explainer.